All right. I think we should be good to go. So.
Okay. I'd like to call this meeting of the Timberville Town Council to order, January 14th, 2021. And we'll begin, AC, as we always do, the authority to conduct the meeting electronically. If you can put that up and go through that.
All right. Can everybody see that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So like all the other meetings we've conducted since the pandemic hit, this meeting will be conducted electronically, and that is authorized through several different declarations and ordinances and resolutions that the council passed on May 26, 2020, which were effective for 6 months. They were extended for an additional 6 months on November 12th, 2020, and that extension was from the original deadline. The members of the Town Council, Planning Commission, town staff, and special guests are participating in tonight's meeting using the Zoom conferencing platform, and the meeting is being streamed for viewing on the town's YouTube channel. Required notifications of the meeting were sent by email and through postings on the town's social media outlets. And there will be a public hearing tonight during tonight's meeting, which has been properly advertised. And comments from the public were requested prior to the hearing, but there will also be a phone line we'll have available for anyone who wants to comment to call in during the public hearing section. And we'll throw the phone number up on the screen when we get to that point. And any votes that are taken tonight will be conducted by roll call and will be recorded in the minutes.
Okay, thank you, AC. As you can see, the first thing after that is, as we do every election cycle, is we need to reappoint our town manager. So,
I make a motion, we reappoint our town manager, AC Garber.
Okay, thank you, Sharon. Do I have a second?
Second.
Is that you, Natalie?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, well, we have a motion and properly second. Any further discussion? Okay, having none, we'll do a roll call. Carl?
Yes.
Debbie?
Yes.
Natalie?
Yes.
Ned?
Yes.
Sharon?
Yes.
And Clarence?
Yes.
Okay. Congratulations, AC.
Thank you all, I think.
You're going to have to hang out with us a little bit longer.
Another 2 years, huh?
Okay, the next one is Bobby was our vice mayor, and now we have, as we do every 2 years, we need to reappoint or appoint a vice mayor. So do we have any nominations from the floor for vice mayor?
Don, before we start with nominations, let me throw something in there.
Yes.
Debbie had asked me a question. I think was it yesterday, maybe, and she was asking about the role of the vice mayor and what their voting privileges are if they were filling in for the mayor. And so I talked to Quentin about it, asked Quentin about it, and he did a little bit of looking. And Quentin, you can jump in here if you want to correct me whenever I misspeak. But basically, if the vice mayor is acting in the mayor's stead, because the mayor's absent for some reason, the vice mayor takes on the role of the mayor and doesn't vote unless it's in the case of a tie. Is that fair? Is that a fair summation, Quentin?
Yes, sir. That sounds right.
Okay.
And if everybody's there except the, yeah.
And we are still looking, as Quentin went through and as I went through the charter and the ordinances, we were trying to find, there's nothing that really mentions the mayor's voting, when the mayor's supposed to vote and when he's not supposed to vote. Our ordinances do, either the ordinances or the charter reference Robert's Rules of Order as the procedural, as the procedure for what we follow. And I've had a little bit, I looked through it a little bit and found a couple mentions of it. And basically it sounds like whoever the chair of the meeting is, can vote whenever their vote will make a difference in the outcome of the vote. So if it's a tie, or if there's like if you need a 2/3 vote, if it would either put it over the 2/3 or if it would stop a 2/3 vote, that's when the chair of the body would cast the vote.
Okay. I guess if it's something, if we have to change something to make it clear, we can do that. But if you're comfortable with Robert's Rules of Order, governing over that, that'll be fine too. Just let us know what you feel comfortable with. Okay, so we're back to the election of the vice mayor.
I'd like to nominate Mr. Ned Overton.
Okay, we have a motion to nominate Ned. Do I have a second? No second. Do I have any other nomination?
I nominate Carl Turner.
Okay, we have a motion to nominate Carl Turner. Do I have a second for Carl Turner?
I'll second it.
Sharon, we have a second with Sharon. Okay, a motion was made and properly second. Any further discussion? Then we'll go for a roll call. Carl?
I'll pass.
Hey, you can't vote, can you? You're just on top of my list. Debbie?
Yes.
Natalie?
Yes.
Ned?
Yes.
Sharon?
Yeah.
And Clarence?
Yes.
Okay, congratulations, Carl.
Thank you very much, and thank you, council. I'm honored.
I'll bring over your list of things you need to get done tomorrow, probably.
Okay, we'll make the list too big now.
I'll make a big list for things for you to do. Okay, congratulations, though.
Thanks.
Okay, then, AC, now we'll move down to the Planning Commission appointment. You want to brief everybody on that? I think you already have.
Yeah, I sent it out in an email, one of the 10,000 emails that I've sent out in the past 3 days, I feel like. So the committee, the ad hoc committee of the town council met on Tuesday, right? Tuesday evening? Yeah.
Yes.
And interviewed Kevin Racy, who's on the Zoom meeting here with us tonight. Talked to the committee, talked to Kevin. The committee was the mayor, Sharon, Natalie, and then Carl and Sarah from the Planning Commission were in on the interview also. And the feedback that I got and the feel that I got was that it was a very positive interview, and I think everybody was very impressed with Kevin's presentation and with his background. So what came out of the committee was the committee recommends to the town council to appoint Kevin Racy to the Planning Commission. Now, before we get to an appointment, I thought about this about 10 minutes before the meeting and started looking at the terms of the Planning Commission members, and you have quite a bit of freedom here. Stacy Wood's position expired in June of 2020. So that one, if council decides to appoint, so council can appoint, if council decides to appoint Kevin to the Planning Commission, you have that, which would be a four-year term. You also have Greg Gillette's term, which has not expired yet. That expires June 30th of this year. You have Kevin Hinkle's term, which expires June 30th of 2022. And then Ben Wilson's term, which also expires June 30th of this year. So you have a little bit of time frame there. If council decides that they want to appoint Kevin to the Planning Commission, you can kind of pick between 6 months, a year and a half, and basically almost a 4-year term or a 3.5-year term. So just to throw that out for council's consideration as you're looking at this.
I'll say we were very impressed by Kevin's background, his feeling about the town, and everything he had to offer. So I would recommend having him fill that 4-year term if he's willing to commit that much time. But to do so, we'll need a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, Carl, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, Sharon, thank you. Do you have any further discussion? Okay, roll call. Carl?
Yes.
Debbie?
Yes.
Natalie,
Yes.
Ned,
Yes.
Sharon,
Yeah,
and Clarence.
Yes.
Okay. Welcome to the Planning Commission, Kevin.
I appreciate that.
Okay, now we'll get to some of the normal business. We have, everyone got a copy of their minutes from December 10th meeting. And I'm assuming everyone had a chance to review those. Do we have any changes or corrections or anything that we need to do to the minutes? And if not, we need a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Carl. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, Natalie, any further discussion? Okay, roll call again. Carl,
Yes.
Debbie,
Yes.
Natalie,
Yes.
Ned,
Yes.
Sharon,
yeah.
and Clarence.
Yes.
I cannot wait till we get back in an in-person meeting, so it all goes a lot easier. Treasurer's report. Everyone got a copy of Melinda's treasurer's report. For Debbie and Clarence, it's probably the first time, maybe the first time you've seen it. I don't know if you look on the website to see, but you see she gives us a report every month on the general fund, the water fund, our loan balance. The CAT financial is equipment we've gotten on a low interest rate. The American Legion, which we do a $5,000 donation every year, up to, when it gets up to 200,000, which is 40 years from now, or 36 years from now, whatever it is. Our money market and our savings, and as you see here, the CARES Act fund were spent, so that's been closed. Any questions? And then, excuse me. And there's one other additional one. You'll see, Melinda keeps a spreadsheet on the spending we've done. We allocated $140,000 last year to the park improvements, and you can see right now we've spent $71,000. We've had 39,000 donations plus the additional 75,000 from pilgrims. So we spent roughly 70,000, and I've got a roughly 120,000 in donations. So any questions for Melinda as far as the treasurer's report? Okay, we'll keep on going. Bills for payment. Everyone received a copy of the bills? Is there anyone has any questions on the bills?
I make a motion, we pay the bill.
Okay, thank you, Sharon. Do I have a second?
Second.
We'll give that to Natalie. Okay, any further discussion? Okay, Carl,
Yes.
Debbie,
Yes.
Natalie,
Yes.
Ned,
Yes.
Sharon,
Yeah,
and Clarence.
Yes.
Okay, so that's taken care of. What time is it now, AC? I'd say we go through the police report, AC, then we'll get through the regular business, if you're okay with that.
Right. I think Chief said his report was fairly short anyway, so
Yeah, we're allowed to start late for that. We're just not allowed to start early.
that's right.
Okay, Chief, you got something for us tonight?
The only thing I have tonight is, for better or worse, we lost an officer to retirement, so that's good for him, and unfortunate for us. He was Rodney Wilson was only with us for about 14, 15 months. He did a really good job while he was here, and wish I could have convinced him to stay, but just the world changes, and he decided to retire. So we do have an officer lined up to start next week. His first day will be Monday, and that's Steve Knight, who is currently working for the sheriff's office, and he'll finish out his time with them this weekend and start with us on Monday. Had one retire and had one come on. So we're lucky to have good officers, and in the 6 years, we've never lost an officer to anything except retirement. So hopefully that's a good sign.
That's a very good sign. Very good. Is that what you got for us today, Chief?
Yes, sir.
Okay. AC, I don't see, you didn't have your report down here. I know you sent Chris's memo out about what they've accomplished and things they've finished and worked on last month. Do you have anything to add to that, AC?
Nothing that I can think of off the top of my head. I was so busy trying to get all this other stuff coordinated. That one slipped my mind.
Well, that'll be good enough. I mean, there's a lot there Chris got done. Okay, and that brings us down to the top priorities this afternoon or this evening. We have Roxbury Subdivision Master Plan Public Hearing, and then the Orchards. We'll start with the Roxbury Subdivision Master Plan. AC, do you want to introduce our guests? And they can give us a little presentation on their subdivision.
All right, so we have in attendance tonight on Zoom, we have Max von Arnswald, who's the owner / developer for the proposed development, and I haven't looked through. Is Bill on here somewhere?
Hey, Austin, I'm here on by phone.
Okay, all right, okay, that's perfect. Thanks, Bill. And then so Bill Moore is the engineer on the project, and so they're the ones that we've been communicating with. A lot of dialogue going on with this plan. So what I'm going to do to start with is throw up on the screen the number to the town office, so that if anybody who's watching on YouTube will see this and can call in to make comment once the mayor opens it up for public comment. We'll go through a quick explanation of the plan first, and then the mayor can open it to public comment. We are limited on the number of phone lines we have here, so if we happen to get a plethora of calls coming in, or people trying to call in, if you get a busy signal, just bear with us. We'll keep it open long enough and make sure that everybody has an opportunity to call in if they need to or if they want to. But if you get a busy signal, just maybe wait a couple minutes or wait 30 seconds or so and try calling back again. And you can probably judge a little bit by YouTube also. So what guess what we'll do is.
And I guess before we get going, AC, this has already been reviewed by the Planning Commission. So we have a joint public hearing with the Planning Commission and the council tonight.
Yes, thank you. Yes, we have the Planning Commission members in attendance. Sharon is the Planning Commission liaison of the council. We also have Sarah Berry and Carl Magenhofer, and then obviously Kevin Racy, who was appointed just a little bit ago. Planning Commission has reviewed the plans for the development. They can't, and the way it works is Planning Commission, once the public hearing's over with, the Planning Commission at some point will make a recommendation to the town council on the proposed development, and then council at whatever point after that will act upon that recommendation. So we'll go through the public hearing tonight. A lot of times, when we have these things, Planning Commission will listen to it, go out in the front room. If we're in person, they go out in the front office, formulate a recommendation. But to keep things from getting too confusing tonight and really pushing the limits of my technical capabilities, I'm only going to try to conduct one public meeting at a time here. So after the public hearing, the Planning Commission will meet and discuss this at their regular meeting next Wednesday, January 20th, and hopefully come up with a recommendation at that point.
And you've reviewed everything before Max is going. You reviewed everything for our R5 requirements,
right?
Sidewalks, curbs, all that sort of thing.
Town staff has reviewed the plans, and we've made comments back to Max and Bill, particularly on obviously on the things that are addressed in the land development regulations, but also the water and sewer facilities. And then VDOT has reviewed the plans for traffic and streets, and they've made comment. And Rockingham County has reviewed the plan for stormwater and sediment and erosion control, and they've also provided comments to Max and Bill.
Okay, thank you. I guess we'll open up the floor to Max if you'd like to go first. I don't know if it's you or Bill, but either one.
Sure, thank you. Introduce myself again to everyone. Max von Arnswald. We feel that this development is, prior to purchasing the property earlier last year, we met with Austin, and we just talked about his desires for for development in the town. The property was already zoned. So that's an appealing feature of acquiring the property, and the stipulations of the R5 zoning were kind of in line with our vision of what would be palatable for the community and for the existing layout of what's already there. You've got a row of townhouses down on Lone Pine, so that that piece of the property that we're calling the lower section, we made a determination that would be most advantageous to put more multifamily in there. And prior to closing on the property, we presented to the council and the planning commission, and they kind of everybody kind of said, hey, that makes sense. That's a nice transition. And then the upper, what we're calling the upper portion of the property, or that field that is accessed down Irish Lane, we're primarily slating that for a single-family residential, which will, with a vision of building similar size and style homes that are already in the neighborhood in the development up in Legion Hills. And we did put 2 duplex units in there in the interest of gaining a slight bit of density on the property, simply to make it more feasible from a financial development standpoint. And we passed all of those minor changes by everyone, and no one was in objection to that quasi conversion of some residential lots on Irish to 2 buildings, 4 lots of duplex units. So I really think it's going to be a great addition to the town of Timberville. You all have got a desire to grow over time. We feel that there's a demand for this sort of housing in both in Timberville and in greater Rockingham County. And I just think that it's going to be a win-win for everyone to bring this sort of a project into this property, which was zoned and obviously intended for some development. That's all I've got. Thank you.
You're muted, Don.
Bill, do you have anything to add? I do. The one question I think people will have is about the storm water portion of this. I know you did 138 pages of engineering on it, and I like to act like I could understand it all, but I cannot. But can you just touch on the stormwater aspect of this? Because I know there's questions on that in the past.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, Rockingham County has a lot of pretty stringent stormwater requirements. Just over a year ago, they even amped those up to where you have to meet full compliance on site for quantity and quality. Our strategy here was to, utilize the low areas in the property and use low impact development strategies and best management practices, which included some dry swales, a combination of sand filters, bioretention, and a little bit of standard detention in the bioretention areas. So the component of energy balance is, fully complied, as well as stormwater treatment. So a pretty robust, extremely robust, really, stormwater strategy for the development.
Okay. Well, thank you, Bill. And I'm assuming I didn't see it indicated, but R5 requires a 25% open space AC, and I'm assuming that meets all these requirements.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Those are only 2 questions I had. open up to the council and see if the council has any questions right now before we open up to the public. Do any councils have any questions? Yes, Ned?
I have a couple questions. Are sidewalks included in this project?
Yeah.
Curb guttering around, what is it? What do they call it? Round curb or whatever?
Roll top.
Roll top curb with sidewalks. Yes, Ned?
That sidewalks on both sides of the streets?
Both sides.
Okay. And
Yes.
then another question I have is, street lights, are they required in this project?
Yes.
And
Yes.
when we're putting in these street lights, are we considering light pollution?
We are. We have talked to, I sent links from Dominion to Max and Bill for examples of what we're looking at with the indication that everything should be down lighting, so we don't have that up light lead. And Dominion's got a pretty abundant list of options anymore because they're converting everything now is LED, so it'll be new LED style lights. But the examples that we've indicated to them have basically they have the top on so that the light is directed down. It doesn't bleed up into the air and get you pollute the night skies that way.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Anyone else have questions? Carl?
Yeah, how many actual units are you planning on in the master plan?
Is that total unit count? Is 40 total units.
Okay, thank you.
And that's a mix of
Right.
single family homes.
Townhouse duplex. Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, AC, I guess we'll open it up to any public comment. I know you answered a few questions and you sent it to the council.
Yeah, I shared it. I shared that with the council, and I also shared it with Max and Bill, and also and that was kind of late. So Bill, I don't know if you had seen that yet or not, and also with the Planning Commission. And Kevin, I'm not sure if I sent it to you or not. I may have missed you on that. I haven't got my distribution lists all set up with the new memberships and everything. So I'll make sure that I get that information to you. You can see on the screen the number of the town office. So Mr. Mayor, if you want to open it up, and I can, while we're waiting for any calls to come in, I can go ahead and go down through the list. I think it was about 5 different comments that I'd received so far.
Okay.
So if you want to open that up, then
I'll go ahead and open up to public comment. If anyone would like to make a comment or ask a question, now's the time to call in. And like AC said, if you get a busy signal, just keep on calling. We'll get you as quick as we can. So go ahead, AC.
all right. So let me go through. Let me find my list here.
I think I have mine on the phone. Let me get that too.
So one comment was from David Voigt, who owns a property on Colors Lane where there are 3 trailers, and was asking about some concessions from the owner developer that would benefit him for additional driveway. He was asking about another trailer. Unfortunately, his property's not zoned correctly for adding additional mobile homes, and he was very understanding of that. And so his property is currently a non-conforming use of the property, but it can be continued. It just can't be increased in non-conformity. So like I said, he was very understanding of that. The second one I received, I received Mr. Voigt's by email, and then I received one from Ms. Christine Jordan, who's on Pride Circle. I believe her property backs right up to the proposed development. And her concerns were, she was opposed to the development because it will disrupt the view from the deck from where she sits and can look out over the open field now. And she expressed concerns about the decreasing, her property values decreasing, and also concerns about how the water pressure will be affected. So in that email I sent out, council and everybody should have received that I had addressed those. Briefly, the water kind of came up in another one too. So we are we have sent the information over to our engineer, and he's going to model that, model our system with that, with the proposed development homes included, to make sure that everything is good. We just finished up that new water line that goes up across the hill, and that was one of the points of discussion with that Chris and I had with Max and Bill, was about the route for the water line. And Max, you can confirm or deny this if you want to. Chris told me that when he met with you, was it yesterday maybe, that we had proposed to Max and Bill that to run a water line, two different water lines, one that would feed the lower part of the development, and then one that would feed the upper part of the development that would run down Irish Lane. Chris came up with a really good design and a really good compromise, I thought, on that. And I think he said that Max was amenable to that, to making that change. And so we'll proceed with that if that's the case.
Yes, it is.
Okay, good. That's
we're
great.
going to go ahead. In fact, Bill Moore is already sending surveyors out there tomorrow to be able to start gathering the more detailed survey data, which would inform his engineering staff to be able to start the drawings which are needed to depict that new portion of the plan.
Perfect. Thank you for your willingness to work with us on that too. Let's see. Decreasing property value, that's always a concern that's thrown out when you have new development coming in from the surrounding property owners. It's a very hard one to judge. And then let's see. The next comment I had was from John Swan, who's also on Pride Circle in Legion Hills. His concern was about the existing views for the existing homes in Legion Hills that are at the top of the hill there. If what style of homes would be built if they were 2-story, how would that affect the view? And I'll kind of jump back. One of the things I explained to Ms. Jordan was that area was established in 1999 when the annexation agreement between the town and county was agreed upon. That area was established as the growth area. So it's been like that for many years. And in that annexation agreement, it talks about the development of that area and having it developed as the town deems necessary or feels necessary when the time should arise. So let's see. Mr. Swan also expressed concerns about concern about how the development would affect the water pressure, which I've already addressed. Also received his by email. And then I had 2 phone calls today. One was from Mr. Leonard Cullers, who's has property on American Legion Drive across American Legion Drive from the lower portion of the proposed development. And his concern was that he didn't really want to look out his front window and see townhouses across the street. And then the other phone call I received was from Joseph Miller on Irish Lane, and he expressed concerns he expressed were how much traffic would increase by using Irish Lane to access that upper part of the development. And one thing I thought about, I always think about things after you get off the phone. One of the things I thought about that I should have conveyed to Mr. Miller is that, that street is laid out where it dead ends at Mr. Swope's property, which is the big field adjacent to it. And, the new water line goes up through Mr. Swope's field, and it has set that up for anytime somebody wants to come in, whether Mr. Swope wants to develop it or somebody else wants to develop it, because that is part of our growth area. That's a huge part of the growth area. So the plans show it being set up for a continuation of Irish into whatever may develop over in that big field. And at whatever point that would occur in the future, I could see people that live in the upper portion of the proposed development, of Max's proposed development, actually accessing that off of Lone Pine, coming up through whatever develops through Mr. Swope's property, instead of coming all the way around. That's, you can't guarantee anything like that, but it would just be more of a natural flow shorter route, less turns, probably quicker to get home that way and get to work. So.
And Legion Hill has the same connection, does it not?
Right, they do. Honor Drive is a stub road that would lead into that ends at Mr. Swope's field also, and was planned that way for looking at future development. So those are the 5 comments that I've received so far.
Okay. Do we have anyone calling in, Celia? Okay. So I have no calls. I guess give it a couple more minutes, AC, and then we'll close it for public comment. Okay. Council, has that brought up any questions at all that anyone might have while we wait? I'd say since no one's calling in, AC, I'll close it for public comment. And like you mentioned earlier, AC, we're not going to have a vote tonight. It's going to go back to the Planning Commission for their meeting on Wednesday. Is that what it was?
Yes, next Wednesday, January 20th.
And they'll be making a recommendation for the council in our February meeting.
Right.
Correct. Okay. Well, thank you, Max and Bill, for attending. You can hang out if you want. It's up to you. You might have something more exciting to do. It's up to you guys. But thanks.
Thank you.
It's a very exciting development, and then thanks for your hard work.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, AC, you want the Orchards one's not one that requires public comment. It just requires the council approval. Is that correct?
Right. So the the Orchards, it's a section 2 of the Orchards, and we have I saw him on here earlier. Carl, are you still on here? Carl Snyder?
Yes.
Okay. So Carl Snyder's on here. He's he's kind of the everybody in this project. So he's the owner, engineer, everything. So he's got a good thing going on there. So we're looking at and let me see if I can find.
AC, while you're pulling that up, and we approved both of these subdivisions a while back. Is it, when it's coming back out, is it basically the same as it was when we approved it many years ago?
In what matter?
I thought when we originally looked at these it was 2 cul-de-sacs, basically, or subdivisions. We approved both at one time at that point, and one just never happened.
Right. So yeah, the council approved the plan, the concept plan for it.
Okay.
Back in 2004, right after you became mayor and right after I started with the town, and approved the concept plan for up to 76 units. And so the only part that was developed was Granny Smith, which is the street that's there now. And this will be for the second section of it. And I will throw this, let me just throw it up on the screen there. There we go. So yeah, the concept plan was approved for the council for that number of units. And at some point in there, when the subdivisions came up, the actual subdividing of the lots, that occurred. And so that's basically what this is doing. It's the subdivision of the lots, the subdivision of that larger property into the lots for development. And so that's why we need, I talked to Mark about this, and Quentin, I think, was in on the on those emails and everything also. I think technically I could probably approve this on my own based on the land development regulations, but we've always done it, brought it to council for subdivision approval. And so we're just going to continue with that practice. It's always worked in the past, so there's no reason to change it now.
I agree with
the planning commission's reviewed this, and their recommendation is for council to approve the subdivision of that property. And let me see if I can find that's probably a better expression of what we're looking at here. So you can see how the lots are divvied up around there, and that's what council's really looking at, is how the lots are divided up, and it fills out the remainder of that 76. Carl, am I right that there's 36 in this one?
Yes.
Okay, because there's already 40, obviously, in the first section that goes down Granny Smith. So this will be the remainder of that 76 that was never developed. So,
Council, do you have any questions for Carl, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Any questions for Carl? If there's no questions, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Once approved, when do you have a starting date or anticipate when you can start?
Well, I'll speak in terms of a goal. The goal is to get moving here very shortly. We are still currently evaluating a couple partnering options in terms of the vertical construction component. So I don't want to stick a shovel in the ground necessarily until I've at least got a good indication of that. But yeah, it's our goal to move forward immediately.
All right, thank you.
And as AC said, we will need a motion to approve.
Ned's got his hand there.
Oh, sorry, Ned.
I have the same questions basically as the last subdivision, and that is stormwater management's critical in town, light pollution, and then I understand there's several utilities that run near or through that property, water and gas. All that's been worked out okay?
Yeah. So the stormwater component, actually, I'm going to answer a couple of your questions there together. So the property is that we bought is 11 and almost 11 and a half acres in total. But as you can see, we're using a small portion of it, less than half. And it's because it is encumbered with other utilities. You've got a water line running through there. You've got power, and then you've got a gas easement. So we're working with what's left. And because of that, we do have a lot of undeveloped land. So we were able to go with a low impact approach, and actually we're doing stormwater as sheet flow to open space. We're keeping the wooded area down in there, and really the stormwater meets all the current regulations, which, as the previous developer mentioned, are quite stringent this day and age. And we're doing it in an area that doesn't drain to any other homes or anything like that. So.
Any other questions, Ned?
No, thank you, Carl.
You're good? Good. Anybody else? Yes, JR. You're on mute.
How about that?
There you go.
Those kind of properties that have part that are used and part that are not used can be kind of an ordinance issue as far as having fallow field, basically. So if you have a lot that's not being used, or are you going to be able to naturalize it or do something that is going to be aesthetic so we don't have neighbors complaining about unmowed grass, basically?
So what we're doing with it is, so for instance, these lots are going to be sold as fee simple lots. So we just like the other street there, we'll end up with 36 property owners in there. At the end of the day, it's not our intent then to own a piece of property that's not used for anything. So we, in speaking with the homeowners association after we bought the property, our intent is we are dedicating the unused portion of the property to the homeowners association, which they were very glad to hear, because they were wanting to create some park and open space features where the kids would have room to go play. So it would be maintained under the restrictive covenants of the homeowners association.
Okay.
And I will also convey
your comment and your concern for that, and I certainly appreciate it. I will convey that to them as well as we once we near on the dedication of that.
I appreciate that. That's something that the town's worked a lot on over the last couple of years to make those improvements. And I'd hate to see the development happen and then have a residual problem next door. So I appreciate you.
No, and yeah, it's and again, I think from the aesthetic standpoint, I always hate to see that anyway. So and that's kind of why we wanted to dedicate it to the homeowners association, because at being that we just acquired the property, at the very first homeowners association meeting, one of the things that got brought up was we have no space for the kids to play other than in the street, and obviously that's not a good solution either. So they were very excited to hear that we had a mutually beneficial solution to that.
Awesome. Thank you.
Sure.
Sounds good. Thank you, Carl. Anybody else? Okay. If there's no other comments, now it's time for a motion. Correct, AC?
That's right.
Okay. Ned, you making a motion?
I would move that we accept the Orchards second stage, that being Red Delicious Drive.
Okay, thank you, Ned. Do I have a second? Natalie? Okay, second by Natalie. Okay, any further discussion? Seeing none, okay, roll call. Carl?
Yes.
Debbie?
Yes.
Natalie? She said yes. Ned?
Yes.
Sharon?
Yeah.
And Clarence?
Yes.
Awesome, thank you. And thank you, Carl.
Thank you all, council, and we look forward to working in your town.
It's pretty exciting to see all the growth going on in town. It's just very exciting. AC, you got anything else to talk about today?
I don't know. I don't think so. That's enough.
That big stack of yours there.
Yeah, I've got 10,000 tabs opened up on my screen here, so I think I've gone through at least 9,000 of them. So I can't think of anything else that we need to discuss unless council has any questions about anything.
Council, you have anything to bring up right now? I mean, I welcome Debbie and Clarence to our special meeting, but welcome in this public meeting. Welcome to our council. You're going to have a good time. It's exciting place to be. Okay. Anyone have any questions? So Carl.
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
AC, do we have any update if we will ever get recycling back in town?
I haven't heard anything on recycling since the last VML meeting that I was at, which was, oh gosh, year and a half ago or something like that, whenever it was. That was kind of the big discussion then, because all of the localities all across the Commonwealth were dealing with the same issue. And I haven't heard of any solutions that have come up since then.
Okay.
It's sad. I mean, at our house, we take care of our own recycling. You know, I have cans out in the garage that are marked with 1 and 2 plastics and glass, and then the cardboard, and I haul it over to the Mosaic container site every so often. So
I know.
Yeah.
Okay, do we have an update on the Chris building?
Actually, was in conversations with the county building official and with the contact from EPA just in the past several days, and we're working on some stuff with that. It's getting weird mixed signals from some of the agencies. The county's doing a good job of keeping on top of it with trying to keep people out. I talked to Chris today, and he's was going to try to do some kind of barrier to limit access as much as possible. You know, he's working with construction fencing and some materials like that. The potential or the the idea of trying to board up the hole in the side of the building is nearly impossible. You've seen the hole, obviously, and it's, you'd almost build an entire building just trying to board up the hole with the materials that you would use. So we're going to try this and see if that's satisfactory. I know the county building official was interested in seeing that, but the EPA, my EPA contact was also, that was one of the things he was pushing for. And so basically what we're looking at is the EPA is, try to make this as short as possible. The EPA is looking at it, and they've talked to Ms. Sacra about the materials in the building, and they don't see that much that appears to be worrisome to them. I guess that's the best way to put it. And I've sent them the reports and surveys that we had from the companies when they conducted those surveys. And so now I'm trying to get the company that did the survey, we're trying to get a conversation dialogue going between them and the EPA to figure out what is and what isn't hazardous. The EPA, there was some misunderstanding on the property owner's part, and we're just trying to work out all of those little details and kinks, and see if it can get. The best thing would be is if she could just get it repaired. It would, at least I say the best thing financially for the town would be for her to be able to get it repaired. And us not have to be involved at all. The EPA feels like she can do that. I'm not sure what the building officials, they have their standards. They go by the building code, and she would have to meet all of that to bring it back to a safe condition. So we are still working on it, and that's one of the things that I really want to focus on here in the new year. As you know, there are lots and lots of things going on. Kind of like when we had Walmart and Centerra both coming in at the same time with developments. It's very time consuming. You know that from just the planning commission end of it. So trying to juggle all these things at one time, but we're still working on it, and it hasn't escaped our view. So
okay, thank you. And I just have two other things. The museum is indefinitely closed due to the virus. We have no idea when we'll be opening it again. And also want to welcome our new colleagues, Clarence and Debbie. It will be wonderful when we can sit at the same table. And also the sign at the town office is absolutely beautiful.
It's very nice.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That flag blowing, I have heard so many comments about it. So
very good.
Thank the men, and thank UAC for being instrumental in getting that done.
Yeah, that was. I'll put that on. I'll give that credit to the to staff. They did a lot with that. Cecilia's the one she's in learning mode right now, learning how to program different messages and stuff. So she's involved with that, and you'll be seeing some new stuff coming out. We're talked to her yesterday about getting some information, COVID information up there. Ned had a good suggestion. We're going to look at maybe doing some mentioning of shop local businesses, because that is very much COVID related, especially with this time of trying to keep those businesses supported. But if we can keep everything supported, but do it in a safe manner, right. It's a fine line, and as everybody knows, it's not fun out there in COVID land. So, right.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Hey, AC, back to the Chris property. After hours this evening, when I went down the hill, they were removing something from it, bags of something. I don't know what it was. There's a trail of something going out the door into a pickup truck and that sort of thing. So,
okay. And that was part of the conversation with the building official in the past couple of days, that someone had sent them pictures of that occurring, and obviously no one's supposed to enter the building. So he was going to do a little bit of investigation, and act on whatever he found out. So.
Well, it was a silver Ford pickup, and she was in a little Ford pickup, so she was down there too. So
Okay.
really her and some other gentleman doing it. It's the other thing I have for the council. I know in the next few months we're going to start our budget process, but the one thing we're going to have to do this year is amend our current budget. And that has to be anytime we have anything that's over 1% of our budget, which is roughly $20,000, we have to amend our budget. And the donation from Pilgrims, we have to show that as incoming, which is $75,000, and the CARES Act we have to show as an incoming too. So even though it's not anything that, you know, that we're their donations, so to speak, our assistance, we still have to amend our budget to show a balanced budget. So at some point in the next month or two, we need to get together and look at amending our budget, and maybe also talk about, do we want to, there's some items that are becoming pretty essential, like some stuff with the #1 well pump and the computer system for the front office staff, that do we wait another 6 months for the new budget, or do we go ahead and get it right now and get a 3, 4, 5 month head start on it? So I've asked Chris to come up with numbers for that, and I think Melinda and Michelle and maybe Cecilia, between the three of them, they have the numbers on the system. But it's something to talk about. Usually things do not get less expensive the longer you wait, and they usually don't get a lot better the longer you wait. So it's something we need to talk about when we do our budget amendment. So that's all I have. Anyone else have anything else?
I do.
Yes, sir.
The CARES Act committee met, and we were able to present grant money to the hair factory, the jewelry vault, the museum, and the volunteer fire department. And I think today we received, AC, is this correct? Today we received a thank you from the museum and an update.
Right. That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
And I emailed that out to the council, but it was right before the meeting. So some of y'all might not have seen that yet. So you can look in your email for that thank you letter.
I did get a thank you from the fire department when they were driving by the house one day. So.
And I got a personal thank you from the chief also. So they're very thankful, and also from the jewelry vault. So they're all very thankful for the money they received to help out. Good point. Yeah. Anyone else?
Is there a chairman for the planning commission yet, or holding off until the vacancies are filled?
But the planning commission elects their own chairperson.
Right.
So we talked about it at the last meeting when there were three members of the planning commission there, and I think the consensus was that just kind of wait until we get the membership numbers back up a little bit at least. But that will need to be one of their agenda items. I don't know if it'll be next week or if we'll wait until. We do have a couple. We have 2 more letters of interest that, or 2 more individuals that have expressed interest in vacancies on the planning commission. So we will look at doing interviews with those individuals coming up soon. And Mr. Mayor, if you can keep on me on that, and well, the whole committee, if y'all keep on me on that, make sure I get those scheduled, please.
Yeah, let's get that done. Let's get that done this month and get, you know, we have 2, appear to be 2 good candidates. So we'll get it back up to 6 people. So yeah, I'll keep on you, AC, and maybe we can get something next week or the week after. And I'm assuming, Natalie, you still want to be involved in that? Okay.
Yes, sir.
And Sharon, you have to be involved, so because you're part of the committee.
AC is our chairman right now.
Is he? Okay.
And that's why we need to get one elected soon.
Just something more for AC.
Right.
Okay. Anything else? Great meeting. Thank you, everybody. Congratulations, Carl. And thanks for all the hard work. And the meeting is adjourned. Oh, is there? Yeah, something else? Yeah.
Okay. Carl, good job.
Okay. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you all.